I'm loving it here, really. It's a once in a lifetime to be here. All thanks to God. Without Him, I wouldn't be where I am now. Just going through this process. Just be able to take everything in. Taking all of the coach's advice. To help me in the future and now. But overall, I'm loving it.
What's something that stood out to you in meetings that you maybe didn't quite expect? I know obviously anybody gets like a weird question or something like that, but is there anything that maybe was different than you thought it would be?
Nah, not really. It was basically all around the same questions I have heard before. It just, just getting the interview by an NFL coach. It's just always an exciting moment.
Obviously, plenty of experience that you bring to the college level, including some with Nick Saban, who we'll talk about here in a sec. But what are you hoping, or how are you hoping that translates to your steps in the next level?
Just be able to take in what the coach taught me. Just throughout the college process. And for me to go into the next level and just give it my all.
Yeah. What are you hoping to showcase? Are you doing testing, by the way?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're doing everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you hoping to show off?
Oh, I feel like people are really down my 40 time. So, yeah, so I'm gonna try to touch that 4.3, if not like a low 4.4.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say if you had a target time, 4.3 is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Any formal meetings to this point that are off the top of your head that have really stood out and why?
I have not had any formal, but I have informals. Just basically all the meetings with all the coaches was really great. Great energy, great vibe with them.
And how are you hoping that your personality shows off in those spots too? What's it like getting to talk to those guys in those settings?
Like we said, just showing my personality. Me, love to smile. Just love to just take in all the information and just be myself.
I want to talk about your last 2 years here at Alabama as well. Obviously, a growing SEC. I'm actually an Oklahoma guy, funny enough. So I was in Norman for that game, for that first round of the playoff
Yeah.
game. Can you talk about how special it is in this new age to be able to compete against such high-level players on a week-in, week-out basis now? Obviously, the SEC is the SEC, but it even feels like it gets up a notch now with the NIL era.
Now you just got to keep going. Especially with our season, all the long, hard games we had, throughout the whole season. You got to keep going, no matter what's going on. If you're injured or if any obstacle running your way, you always got to keep going.
And when you're looking at an offense at Alabama that was obviously as loaded as it is, how does that it makes your life easier, but in what ways does it make your life easier when you know that they've got, Ryan Williams and Germie on the boundary to worry about and Josh running up the seam and all that good stuff?
It's all about trust. You got to build the trust of your teammates. You got to trust them that they're going to do their job, and they got to trust you also for you to do your own job.
Can you talk to me about Ty? Obviously a great leader, I think, and a guy that maybe is always the most vocal guy, but I'm curious to know your perspective from him behind the scenes and what makes you think that he's going to be successful at the next level.
Oh, Ty's been my guy since day one. We both came in, roommates, the dorms.
Same class, right?
Yeah, same class. Yeah, we just stuck with each other from the beginning. He's a great guy, great leader. Every chance he get, he steps up, say what he got to say, that's on his mind, and be able to lead others. Like if we're down or up, it don't even matter.
Can you talk to me about Germie, too? Obviously, an interesting path to get to this point in following Deboer. How does he stand out in this loaded receiver class?
He's the same way, high energy guy, ready to encourage others, just helping all the receivers, especially the young ones, just trying to build them and get ready.
Yeah. I'll ask about Ryan Williams, obviously, because he's going to be here, talking to these podiums here next year. How special is it? Is it something that in practice you're just like, yeah, this guy's just different than everyone else, and then it just translates to Saturdays? Or was he just kind of built for this moment? Just talk to me about him and your engagements with him.
Yeah, to be honest, it really started first day he got there. Our first little off-season practice, going crazy, and from then on, I'm pretty sure everybody knew he was going to be the guy.
Yeah. Who's that guy that maybe people don't know so much about? Whether it's in the backfield, Daniel Hill's maybe a good name to talk about, but is there a guy that they don't know about so much, the Alabama fans or even college football as a whole?
Daniel Hill, A.K. Deere, and Kevin Riley. Them guys, me being with them, just helping each other, just building a relationship, finding little nitpicks on how they could also get better in their game.
And how did that factor into your role as an older guy, as a veteran, knowing that there's so much talent coming into the room, obviously, but that it's, at that stage, still a very competitive environment and kind of an environment where the rising tide lifts all the boats type of thing?
I just got to pour into them guys, help them as much as I possibly can. If they don't fully understand something what a coach said, they always got me, as they backup plan to ask me what they could do or what any other type of thing they could do for them to get better.
Yeah. It feels like a theme over the last few years in general, as opposed to the running back position, is really the element of pass protection, right? If you're not able to pass protect, you're not going to get the ball on first and second downs. How does that apply to you as a player, whether it was in the film room, the meeting room, studying tape, studying other players, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, so crazy you said that. So me coming out of high school, freshman year in college, high school you run the ball a lot, but once you get to college, you gotta learn how to protect. And my position coach told me, he was like, for only way for you to go on the next level is you gotta learn how to block because you're gonna have $1 million quarterback behind you to protect.
Yeah.
So from then on, I just been on 10, just finding ways to help me improve during the game.
And going up against the Alabama defense isn't all too bad either. Is there a story or anything that stands out from your time at Alabama where there's a certain player that you're like, okay, he's going to be an NFL ball player?
Every single body, every single player that's on the defensive side, each and every one of them is great. D linemen, linebackers, corners, safety, each and every one of them.
And Deboer leading the program now. I think there were some skeptics going into his second year. What gives you the confidence that, yeah, he's the guy for that program?
We got guys that was there two or a year ago. Everybody know how it is. You just got to trust the process.
I was going to say, you could have had the opportunity after Saban retired to potentially explore other options. It's a lot easier when you're at Alabama as opposed to another program, but is that the sole reason I was like, I'm sticking around here, or was there something about Deboer, too, that, helped convince you?
Oh, I trusted Deboer, especially his background coming from other school. I just decided to stay. I never had the thought of leaving.
Yeah. Who are some backs that you like to model your game after, like past or present?
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah.
That's a popular answer. I don't know why. Is it just the physicality, the well-rounded? Like, what do you like about his game?
His physicality, he's diversive. I think I said it right, yeah. Just him able to, like, he's a bigger type of guy, so I try to take in some of the games that he do during the games.
You obviously mentioned from Tyler, Texas, and I'm from Plano myself, so for the people who may be watching, can you explain to them why Texas high school football is the best football in the country?
Oh, man, they don't call it Beast Texas for a reason,
Yeah.
Everybody in Texas, we live, breathe, sleep football,
And as you make your way now to the next level, plenty of tape to watch, obviously, like I mentioned. If there was one game that you could throw on from your time at Alabama that showcases who you are as an athlete and as a player, do you have a game in mind?
Ooh. 2023 SEC against Georgia.
Yep, yeah.
Vanderbilt this year or this past season, and Auburn the past season.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to see when they throw on that tape?
Oh, everything. Him being able to make people miss, being able to block, just very little things.
What's something about you that NFL teams may not necessarily know? A good fun fact for the people at home.
I love to block. Not too many people say that, especially coming from a running back. Most people would say they love to run the ball, of course, but my behalf, I love to block.
And if you had a message for the fans that you're going to be rooting for you one day, what is it?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.